What's up, Grizz Nation? We're back at it on everything Grizzlies. And in today's video, we're going to break down a recent report that the Memphis Grizzlies are reportedly trying to move up as high as pick 4. So, Marc Stein reported, or said in his article or podcast, whatever one, that the Grizzlies were trying to move up into this Thursday's draft. And they are even going to move up as high as 14. However, it has been reported that I think Kevin O'Connor said the Grizzlies may not have the ammo to actually make the deal. And obviously, if Memphis were to obtain the 4th pick, it would be for Purdue guard Jaden Ivey, someone whose mother was the coach on the Grizzlies before being the head coach at Notre Dame women's basketball. So there is a lot of interest between the Ivey family and the Grizzlies. So I'm going to give my thoughts and opinions about it and then kind of say, should we do it, and the likelihood that we do it. So the reason I think this is a very, if Memphis wanted to do this trade, they could. Sacramento has made it known that they want to win. They want to not only trade the 4th overall pick, but they want to win now by getting a lot of assets or win now players, which Memphis has and you wouldn't really need to get rid of Ja, Desmond, or Jaren. And I know as a Grizzlies fan in a small market, these guys become family. You get to meet them a lot easier than you would if you were in LA or New York. And you really do. You get to know these guys. Like, personally, I've met Dylan. I've played 2K with him. I've met him in Vegas before in the Summer League. So it would be hard to see someone like that go. But ultimately, look, Ivey's a once-in-a-generational talent. He just is. I mean, what he brings to the court is athleticism, playmaking that can't be taught, and just an understanding of the game that, hey, I need to get better. And there's no other place that he would fit more than Memphis. There's just not, because he would be an instant contributor on an instant contender, or just a contender. I don't know if they'd be an instant contender. They'd probably be like a contender down the line, but it would make a lot of sense for Memphis to go ahead and pull this trigger. Now, we are on the Bill Street Bears account, and we are actually going to look at what a possible trade could look like if you are the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, if you're not familiar, so if you want to look it up, feel free to look it up. Who is it? Jake Ellerby. I think he's a new writer for the this company. But this is what a mock trade would look like. The Grizzlies received number 4 in Harrison Barnes for Dylan Brooks, Brandon Clark, 29, 22, and Tyrell Terry. Look, the picks you shouldn't really worry about. Tyrell Terry, I mean, he never really has lived up to his potential as a 31st pick. Dylan Brooks, I know that's going to be the hardest one. In my opinion, that's an easy trade to make, because this is a player who will request 20 to 25 million, and where you have to ask yourself, do you want Desmond or do you want Dylan? And we don't want to make that decision. I'm just going to make it for you. You want Desmond. And, excuse me. I just feel like Dylan, he's older. He does have some offensive issues, but defensively, he's one of the best players in the league. And you have to ask yourself, what do you want? Do you want a good defense that you want a good defensive player that's going to have offensive issues that can literally make you lose game because of how bad it is? Or do you want to try to get a new guy in Jaden Ivey to come in here and really have an offensive juggernaut in Jaden Ivey and Desmond Bain, and then bring on some veterans? Now, I know what a lot of people are thinking. Why can't we just keep the same picks we have and just re-sign Tyus? It's more about the future than the now, and I know that sounds like, well, Memphis has a window, and I agree with you. Memphis does have a window of winning, but you look, Brandon Clark is a guy who I don't know if Memphis is going to want to pay up to $17 million to get, maybe 15, and that's a strong maybe. And here's the thing, though. I know as fans, especially fans from the South, and one thing I've noticed is, like, a lot of people from the South think these guys are making a lot more money than they should, and it is true, but at the end of the day, you are competing against bigger markets in which they can just be like, oh, I'll just go to there and I'll just forget Memphis. So it's like you almost have to give in to it. And so it's like, if I'm not saying you have to give them what they want, I'm just saying, like, if you were to say you don't need that much money, that's kind of where you need to step back and be like, okay, maybe running an NBA franchise isn't for you. And I just think, like, look, Brandon Clark, he's someone who, he's an NBA player. It's just his shot is something that it's regressed, and it's something at such a young age, or at 24, he's kind of in, he's like the pre-prime Brandon Clark. So I was like, I don't know how much better he can get. And look, I think if you're the Grizzlies, you have a lot of confidence in Santi Aldama. I do. This is someone who can. I mean, he's 6'11", can shoot the ball very well. Has shown the ability. He has confidence, man. Like, one thing about Santi is his confidence, and I feel like that's something you have to have. And I want to see how good Santi is this summer league, because I mean, we can see him become a instant rotation player, just like Desmond Bane. Now, Harrison Barnes, this is a guy who's just, look, NBA champion and respected across the league for a long time. You know, was on the Warriors, then the Mavericks, and he went to the Kings. And so it would be a really good bench piece for Memphis, if not a starter. However, a lot of people are going to be asking, what would Memphis select if we got the fourth overall pick? And like I stated before, we would get Jaden Ivey, guard out of Purdue. And follow-up questions better say, well, is he a starter? Is he a backup? I'm just going to say it like this. When you get a fourth overall pick, he better be your freaking starter. I don't care if you're the championship team. I don't care if you are a bottom dweller team. He better start for you. And look, I know the fit is kind of questionable, especially if you are Memphis. But to have Ja Morant, Jaden Ivey, Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson, and Steven Adams, it's a really good fit because, one, I feel like you have a lot of good cutters, and if you can make those guys really become good defenders, that's what's going to make you a championship team. And here's the thing, though. You don't, and I felt like a lot, and you can agree with me when I say this, we need to keep Dillon Brooks because of his defense, not because of his offense. If we could, if Ja, Desmond, and Zaire were as good of defenders as Dillon, there would be no need for Dillon Brooks. That's kind of what I think a lot of us are kind of pointing to, is like this Grizzlies team, they want to stamp their final piece, and they feel like Jaden Ivey might be that player. And I know it seems like a lot, but pick 22, whatever, pick 29, and Terry, whatever. Brandon Clark is going to be the main piece, I guess you would say, we're losing. But Harrison Barnes on a one-year deal, I think worth roughly around $20 million. But Jaden Ivey is going to be the main prize of this deal. And I think if we're a Grizzlies fan, we should be ecstatic because, one, that opens up a lot of cap space. Not really cap space, but kind of, not really. We're actually gaining some cap space, but we have the money. However, we do have an owner, Robert Pierre, that has been willing to go with the luxury tax. So their money's not an issue. However, this will allow Memphis to go after veterans such as P.J. Tucker, who, I'm going to be honest, or DeMarcus Cousins. So, who, if you want to win, if you're Memphis, you need veterans. You just do. But you need, in my opinion, you need one more young player that can put you over that top. Just one more. And I mean someone who you can say can run the show. Because I feel like, look, if on given nights, if Ja's there, I feel confident. If Desmond's there, I feel confident. If Jaren's there, I feel confident. If Dillon's there, or Zaire, or Brandon, I'm not feeling as confident. But if Jaden Ivey gets selected, I feel very confident. Now, a lot of people, another follow-up question to all this might be, well, aren't there teams like the Knicks or the Pistons or the Magic might be willing to, wouldn't it make more sense when they do it because they can still get, a young player and some assets? And, that could be right. But if you're the Sacramento Kings, they have been expressing the want to compete. And they said they want a haul. They don't want a player and a pick. They want a haul that they can carry him now and for the future. This is a selection for Memphis where you would just be affecting this year's draft class, not next year's or anything else. So if you're Memphis, you're not getting too much into it, and you're saving a lot of money in the process because both Brandon Clark and Dillon Brooks are guys who are going to be requesting roughly more than $15 million. So you're saving around $30 million, and you are taking $20 million up front. And Tyrell Terry is a guy who, he's not worth a two-way spot. He's just not. He has a lot of mental issues, and I know it's sad to say, but he just will not play in the league. He just will not. And so it's like, if you are Memphis, you are probably going to be the best selection or the best choice if you are Sacramento, because not only do you get a defender, I mean, and probably one of the best defenders in the league, you get a probably one of the best backup big men in the league if you are Sacramento. And you look at a team like Sacramento who has Davion Mitchell, um, jeez, De'Aaron Fox, Dylan Brooks. Now offensively, that would be a question, like a pretty bad one. But then you could have guys like Brandon Clark, like Stabonis, and you still have, you also have a lot of money, so you can go after someone like another DeAndre Ayton, or a DeAndre Ayton, like Jordan Poole, like OG Anunoby, and because you have these picks, and that's what I'm trying to say. If you're Memphis, you're allowing Sacramento to not only, but you're allowing them to make more deals. While if you're Sacramento, you don't need to develop anymore. You need to win, because at the end of the day, you guys have not been a good developmental program, whereas Memphis has been the opposite. And Harrison Barnes is a win now player who can take a step back if he wants to, or if he could be the leading scorer on some nights. And that's kind of the main reason if you're Memphis is I really want to see them, go after Jaden Ivey and get Harrison Barnes and possibly get some players through free agency. That would really help you. And I think, and the reason why I say like the Knicks aren't going to be willing to give up that much. They think that Julius Randle in the 11th pick is enough. Now, yes, you might be adding an all-star, but at the end of the day, you're getting 2 players and that's it. And you're still getting a young player, and you're still getting a player who needs the ball a lot more. Whereas if you had Dylan Brooks and Brandon Clark, like with this trade right here, you're pretty much giving the Sacramento Kings a new rotation. Whereas if you're doing with the Knicks or the Pistons, you're getting more than likely picks and young players who are starters. Whereas Dylan Brooks and Brandon Clark, they really wouldn't mess up your rotation, who's the first or second option, but just they would help add to it, and they would bring a winning culture. And that's kind of my reasoning for this, is I think that this is probably going to be the better deal for the Kings. I think that they don't want to have to move anybody. They want to keep De'Aaron, they want to keep Davion, and it makes sense because I know a lot of people are going to be like, what about Bradley Beal? They want a haul. They don't want to just get Bradley Beal and that's it. They want to trade the 4th overall pick for a haul. And I think this is why this makes so much sense, is you're not going to see the Kings trade this pick for a singular player. You're going to see them trade it for a haul, which they can help them win. Enter the Grizzlies, who not only have the assets, but they have the players on their team that can take over, like Zaire Williams, like Santi Aldama, and they have money and they have the reputation now where they can go and attract free agents if they really wanted to. And I know this sounds like really insane if you are Memphis, but it's like, think about it. You get these players. You have John Morant, Desmond Bane, Jaden Ivey, Jaren Jackson. That's the only 4 players you need, and you just put a bunch of good rotation players around them. That's it. Like, that's literally it. And you'll be a contender every single season. Think about it. Jaden Ivey would probably be the 4th option his first year. The 4th option. That's insane if you're the Grizzlies. But I don't know. This is just something that has been recently occurring. Is it going to happen? Probably not. Will Memphis move up in the draft? Heck yeah. But feel free to comment what you guys think about this. And but that's going to be it for today's video. Draft is coming, guys, and it's a lot. So like, comment, subscribe, and you guys have a good day.